Welcome back to History Before Us. Today we're in High Point, North Carolina, stepping into history that lives in plain sight if you know where to look. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell because we're traveling, digging, and documenting unheralded history all year long, and I don't want you to miss what's coming next. In this episode, I'm linking up with Yalik's African American art and cultural movement, a powerful community-rooted experience that uses art, place, and memory to highlight the people, institutions, and everyday spaces that shaped Black life here in High Point. This isn't just a tour, it's a moving timeline, one that connects faith, education, music, business, and activism, and shows how culture can be both a survival tool and blueprint for the future. So, if you're a history lover or you're trying to understand the history beneath the surfaces of the places you pass every day, you're in the right spot. Let's tap in with Yalik's movement and let High Point teach us something.
This area that you're in now and this whole Washington Street district was where African Americans lived, worked, fellowship, recreation, everything. So when this park was built during that time frame, just for us, when it was all said and done, it was considered the best colored park in the South. And I have a newspaper article that stated that. It cost $116,000 to build on almost 30 acres of land. Now this building here used to sit right there where that building is. I vaguely remember this building because my mom came here. You've been here, are you from High Point? We've all been here in generations before, our parents, grandparents, because this was the only spot for us to come to in this area. And the only nice spot for a lot of people to come to.
North Carolina is quickly becoming a hub for Black history bus tours, and I love what that means for how we learn. Instead of rushing through plaques or trying to piece together timelines on your own, you can literally sit back, ride through the landscape, and let the story come to you, relaxed, guided, and rooted in the people and places that actually built this state. So I've taken Black history tours in Wilmington, Asheville, and now High Point, and each one remind me how history isn't just in museums. It's in neighborhoods, churches, streets, and everyday communities. If you're a true tourist or a true history lover, add a Black history bus tour to your North Carolina to-do list. You will learn a lot without feeling rushed. All right, let's get back into it.
As far as Washington Street, is it named after a certain person?
No one has been able to answer that. When I asked one time, how do we get Washington Street? The answer that he gave me was that was a popular name back during the days of segregation, and a lot of cities, their main streets was named Washington Street, most likely after George Washington.
Okay.
So, but before that, it
Or
was
George Washington Carver.
could be. But before that, it was called Jamestown Road because Washington Street used to run from downtown High Point through Washington Street, through Jamestown, all the way into downtown Greensboro to the courthouse.
So when you say Jamestown, obviously there was some Underground Railroad activity that was happening there. Do we
Yes.
know if there was any Underground Railroad activity happening in High Point area?
Not in this area, but there's talk of it at Johnson Street and Skeet Club. There's supposed to be a old Mendenhall homestead there.
Okay.
Of course, there's no proof of it, but it's word of mouth. And those people that was traveling that part of the Underground Railroad headed up to that Ohio area, Ohio, Indiana.
So we are off the bus, which has been a great ride, but I decided to ask if you can grit and bear the cold with me.
Sure.
So we can be out here in front of the John Coltrane house.
Reverend Blair, John Coltrane's grandfather, built this house in the late 1930s. Before he purchased this land and had this house constructed, he lived on the family lived on the other side of the train tracks, as you can see up here.
Yep.
And they lived on Price Street. When Reverend Blair was ready to retire from ministering throughout the state of North Carolina, he had this house built so he can spend his last days right here on Underhill Street, which was created to bring in and provide more upscale housing for the black elite of High Point. So this is where our professional people live, the doctors, the lawyers, the teachers, brick masons. This was our black elite.
Right.
We even had people like Langston Hughes that came to visit Dr. Davis, and his house stood right here across the street from John
Langston Hughes would
Coltrane's.
have stayed the night right across the
Yes.
street, right where the camera's pointing right now.
Yes, right at Dr. Davis' house.
Okay.
So this community has so much history, whether it's a poverty-stricken area, which was on the back street of where Coltrane lived, to the middle-class black elite,
Yeah.
to even going across the railroad tracks where the St. Stephen Church sat, the church that Reverend Blair preached at and Coltrane grew up in. That was more of a blue-collar, domestic working type community. So there's no doubt in my mind that these different levels of wealth and poverty, he witnessed all that as a little boy.
For sure.
Because during that time, it was segregation. You know, it was a little bit more safer for us to roam around in the community. So I'm pretty sure he probably had friends that were back in the Daniel Brooks area. And all of this played into his music.
Yeah.
His roots here in High Point. He lived in High Point longer than in Philadelphia and New York.
Yeah.
So I'm convinced. And with Reverend Blair being a very militant man, you know, there was structure within the family.
Okay.
And I think that is something that Coltrane inherited with the discipline of his music.
For sure. And it says right here, you all can see that John Coltrane lived with his extended family from 1928 to 1943. That's a good stretch. And it says, of course, that the musical education, he thanked and owed that to his grandfather's efforts, as you see right here on the bottom of this historical marker. So John Coltrane lived right here, you all. The late, great John Coltrane, legendary. And also in this community, as we walk up here to the funeral home, the former funeral home, you had mentioned the highway over
Yes.
there. So redlining hit this community.
Oh, yes.
Talk to us about that
Yes.
and how that affected this more upscale black community during the time.
Between redlining and urban renewal, that was pretty much the downfall of this community. Right before integration. After that, it was hard for people to rebuild in this community.
Did the city make it hard, or was it just the lack of resources for their own personal selves?
No, I think it was more so the city.
Okay.
Back then, a lot of people still wasn't ready for us to move forward.
Yeah.
A lot of people wanted us to kind of stay in our place. That's why we had to fight so hard coming through that civil rights era. And if it wasn't for Reverend B. Elton Cock, who was one of the original freedom riders, you know,
Yeah,
High Point may be further back in time than what it is now.
for sure.
So yeah, but the main thing that really killed our community was this highway,
Was the highway.
urban renewal, which was pretty common in black cities, black areas, black Wall Street areas. And High Point was no different.
For sure. Now tell us about this building right here.
This is Hoover's funeral home. It was built in the late 1800s. Mr. Hoover and his family took ownership of this property in the early 1900s. He was a very prominent businessman here in High Point. And he was the man in High Point when it came to funeral homes. He knew his craft. He was well known throughout the area. He was a civic leader. And stories be told that in the late 1960s, early 70s, when Shirley Chisholm was campaigning, she was right here.
Really?
Now.
And it's interesting because I just left Brooklyn and her building is there in Brooklyn. So I took that picture last week.
Okay,
with Shirley
okay.
Chisholm.
Well, she was here in High Point. And I've heard that from a couple of different people because they said they was here. Now I just need the proof. I need an actual picture. But he was a very prominent businessman. I think Mr. Hoover lived to be at least 100.
Wow.
And this was the porch that anytime you come by here, Mr. Hoover and
Be sitting out here.
and the gentlemen from the neighborhood, they would all sit here on the porch and discuss whatever was going on in the neighborhood.
Okay. And you said it was a neon sign that once was
Yes.
up top, right?
On that second floor,
Okay.
right there in the middle.
Does
was
anybody
this-
have the sign?
I don't know who has it.
And
Miss Hoover, I don't know if she gave anyone permission to take it down because she's still living, but she's wife number 3.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we had the iconic light blue Hoover's Funeral Home that sat right there in the middle. I
Okay.
mean, it was, I don't think no other black business in High Point had a neon sign.
Oh, wow.
And it was so pretty at night when you come through here and it was lit up.
Yeah.
But I've been on the inside quite a few times. The architect was just phenomenal. And yeah, at some point this will be coming down because it's a little bit too far gone to try to save.
Yeah.
We are now here on the campus of Penn Griffin School of the Performing Arts. This school started out as High Point Normal and Industrial in the late 1800s. The Quakers felt that High Point needed a colored school here
Wow.
because we had a large population of blacks.
Okay.
So we are now in front of the Samuel Burford Auditorium.
Okay.
It
After
is
you.
one of the last original structures from this school, from the High Point Normal.
And I
as
see
you-
the John Coltrane Hall of Music.
Yes,
has been
that was
dedicated.
installed a number of years ago in honor of John Coltrane when there was a huge push to really make his name well known here in High Point and you know, around the world.
And so it has a historical marker, but you were also mentioning, so there's the Quaker connection, but then
Yes.
there was a lot of sweat equity
Oh,
that
yes.
went on here
Oh,
at
yes.
this school. So can you tell us about that?
Oh yes, the children that attended High Point Normal and Industrial are the ones who built the school.
Wow.
It started out as a boarding school, and the ones who couldn't pay their way had to learn a trade, whether brick mason, carpentry, electrical. They learned all of that, all of those skills in order to have somewhere to get a better education. They had at least 80 acres of land that pretty much spread out around the vicinity of the school, and they grew their own crops so they can have something to eat. They sold them in the neighborhood, you know, raise money.
Yeah.
At one point, there was a fire that damaged one of the structures. Students helped rebuild it.
They did it again
They did it again.
on the same plot of land.
Yes, they did. At one point, it was said that when you graduate High Point Normal and Industrial, that diploma was the equivalent of an associate's degree now.
What?
Yes. It was top tier education coming out of this school.
And it was originally named William Penn, who was of course a Quaker, and then it was changed to.
Yes. It started out as High Point Normal and Industrial.
Okay.
And then the Colored High School, then William Penn,
Wow.
and now it's Penn Griffin School
My
of
God.
Performing
Look,
Arts.
I'm thinking, you having all these name changes, I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking Negro, Black, Colored, African American, like all the
everything.
changes, right?
All of those changes took place at this school. That's crazy.
That's
That
crazy.
is crazy.
But this is an amazing story. So all these acres,
Yes.
and the kids built it, and they used sweat equity, and they were vested in your education. When you
Oh, yes.
when you put that type of work in, you got to be
Oh, yeah.
vested towards the
Oh,
education
yeah.
at that point.
Oh yeah, and a lot of them, once they graduated, they came back as teachers.
I love it.
So the cycle stayed here in the neighborhood.
Yeah. And then you had also mentioned that there was a hosiery factory that was
Yes.
over there, right? Now, what is a hosiery?
Hosiery factory is where they made socks,
Okay.
pantyhose, things of that nature.
thought so. And
High
it sat
Point,
in that empty
it
lot.
sat in that empty field. That was for colored workers. It was a colored hosiery factory. High Point was known for being the furniture capital and the hosiery capital of the world. That's how the wealth was built here. And they built a factory in that flat area there just for blacks to come and make money and be part of that hosiery industry.
Yeah. And y'all, I want y'all to take a look at the what we're riding in. Take a look at our ride, and you can also see the website where you can book your tour on the website as well.
Yes.
So, and I want to go around here to the slogan, which is what I love. Oh, here it is. A classroom without walls. I love it.
Yes, we are in the process of doing a capital campaign so we can build a structure where we can have walls.
Yes.
But in the meantime, we're going to go in and everywhere and educate about High Point's black community, our history, our culture here, and yeah. So we have to do it on 4 wheels until we get the walls built. We will.
We're about to hop back in here so we can head to the next spot.
All right.
But I'm going to leave a link to where you're able to donate and see all the great things that's happening with this movement, as well as how you can book your own tour whenever you're near High Point, North Carolina. I was about to say High Point University.
Oh,
but
please don't.
I know, I'm not. So scratch that.
They get no credit.
They get no credit. But also, even if you're not in the High Point area, make it a point to come here. Whenever you have your summer travels, history travels planned, make High Point part of your itinerary, because this tour has been absolutely amazing. All right, y'all, so we're on Washington Street, which would be considered like the Black Wall Street.
Yes.
Would you say?
Yes.
And right now we're in front of a former theater, which I'm sure this served the community, and also an empty lot that has a lot of significance related to a formerly enslaved human who I remember on the tour baptized like 1,800 people, right?
Yes.
So give us the rundown, Phyllis.
Yes. This, the church that used to sit on this lot was First Baptist Church. When it was standing, it was High Point's oldest black church. And it was founded by Reverend Harry Cowan. He was a former slave who was given permission to minister to the slaves and start preaching by his owner. He ended up becoming known as the father of the Black Baptist Church. And First Baptist Church was the one that he started and founded here in High Point. Now, if you want to walk up here to this marker.
Yeah, let's do it.
The church was demolished back in 2015, 2017 time frame. So this lot's been pretty much sitting empty. My organization was instrumental in getting this historical marker put here.
Okay.
And since this is private property, we were able to put a picture of the church up at the top so that when we come to this site to remember and honor the people who built this church in this community, I want them to see what the church used to look like.
And look, it was beautiful.
Yes.
Y'all take a look at that.
One of the church trustees who is still living, a dear friend of mine, Dr. Burnell Knight, is the person who created the wording for this marker, and it is powerful.
For sure.
It says, "Here stood the First Baptist Church from 1907 to 2015, born in the midst of Reconstruction, galvanized in the heat of forced racial divide, and often blistered by the minds of social oppression. It stood firm. Over the course of its history, it became the spiritual, educational, social resource center and the hub of the local African American community, giving both hope and meaning to its members and the community it loved." And it did.
And it did.
It did. When this church was demolished,
I know it was a gut punch.
it was more than a gut punch. It was probably a year before I could actually ride down this street.
Wow.
It hurt that bad. And then right across the street on that empty lot was the Kilby Hotel, which was part of the Green Book.
Yeah.
We pretty much lost both of them like a year or two apart.
Well, why Why do you feel so many of these very, very important businesses as buildings rather, are just not even being considered to upfit and repurpose?
I think there's a plan for gentrification.
Okay.
So they have to be gone. They have to be out the way because we don't have the historical value that we remembered and what we lived and grew up on.
Yeah.
So that's
it.
That's it in a nutshell.
And this is the theater, the former theater, which in the African American community, which you also say is in danger of potentially being knocked down.
If something isn't done quickly, this building is just sitting there deteriorating. There's no heat, there's no air. It was our black theater here on Washington Street. It was the Ritz Theater. Theater was down on the entrance was on the first floor, and then the back was the theater part. Upstairs was office space at one time. Different types of businesses were up there. So it looks solid, pretty solid on the outside, for sure. But a lot is going on the inside. So we have to say what few remaining structures we have or of our Black Wall Street.
And one of these structures has been worked on, which is, if I remember correctly, Mr. Robinson,
yes,
who was a formerly enslaved human, and he was brick mason?
Yes, he was a well-known brick mason here in High Point.
And we'll talk about Dr. Little on our way back down.
Okay. Mr. Robinson, a lot of the early municipal buildings that were built in downtown High Point, the bricks came from his brickyard.
And where was it located? His brickyard.
I'm not sure exactly where around downtown High Point.
Okay.
But before Mr. Robinson moved to Washington Street, he lived downtown High Point. That's where he had his first home. But when a lot of early blacks lived downtown High Point. So when the city of High Point decided they wanted to have a furniture district, they pushed everybody out, black, white, everyone.
Didn't matter.
So Mr. Robinson came to Washington Street and built his second home.
Okay.
Right now, it has a new owner. He's African American, and he is restoring it. He's pretty much completed the outside.
Yeah.
We are doing a lot of streetscaping, beautifications on this street. So he's waiting for all that work to be done before he paints the outside.
Wow.
Then he's going to tackle the inside, and most of it has the original wooden floors, crown molding, fireplaces. It's gorgeous on the inside.
Let's walk across if you don't mind. It looks amazing. I mean, you talk about the southern wraparound porch in the south. This is it.
Oh yeah.
Right.
He stabilized it because the roof of the porch was sagging. So I can't wait for him to finish. But the only thing about it, when he's finished with it, he doesn't know what he's going to do with it. I say, well, we have time to figure that out.
Got time to figure that out, but it's beautiful.
And once he paints the outside, I would like to have some type of placard put on the front of it.
Would this be one of the remaining homes outside of the John Coltrane grandfather, Reverend Blair's house, that a formerly enslaved human was responsible for building and living in? So would it just be these two that are remaining?
Yes.
So that's huge.
Yeah, and you know what? I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is huge.
That's huge. So you'll have two structures that were once lived in by formerly enslaved humans. Wow.
Crazy. Wow.
And not a lot of places can say that.
Oh no. And I mean, look how grand this house is.
Yeah.
You know, when the owner bought this house, I found the oldest picture that I had of this house, and I gave him a copy of it so he would know what the outside looked like as he's starting to restore it. So I can't wait to see it with the shutters open, and you know, he's done an excellent job.
Yeah, for sure.
And this is a 14-foot mural of Mr. Hazlip, who was a very prominent businessman here in High Point. He was a funeral home owner. And this picture was taken on Main Street in High Point.
Okay.
And I was researching and saw it in the newspaper. And I just took a copy of it. And when we decided that we wanted to put a mural on this building, I told the family I have the perfect picture. And I said, I guarantee you, you've never seen that picture before.
Yeah, yeah.
And when I showed it to them, they had never seen that picture before.
Or does he have descendants here?
Yes, his great-granddaughter, the family owns Jackie's Place right here, which is our local jazz spot here in High Point on Washington Street.
Beautiful.
So, yeah, they had never seen that picture before.
Okay.
And I gave them a piece of their history.
I love it. And then this is
and
Dr.
this
Little's.
Building, yes.
Talk about it.
Dr. Carl Little is carrying on the family legacy of dentistry. His father was Dr. Perry Little. He was another prominent black man here in High Point that fought for change, especially during the era of civil rights. He was instrumental in integrating Blair Park Golf Course, which is on the South Main Street of High Point. And this was his office starting around 1959. Mm-hmm. And there's a room set up in there exactly the way it was when Dr. Perry Little was with us as our neighborhood dentist.
Love it.
It's like going back to 1959.
And I want to show people one more thing before we get into this warm van because it is cold.
Okay.
I like how y'all got the benches set up. And y'all had the Sankofa in the middle of the benches. Were you all responsible for that? For some of that?
I was not part of that project. This came along when other folks had an idea of what they saw for Washington Street. We had several of these benches along the street. But, you know, with the homeless population, they were taken up because, you know, they would camp out here on the benches. So we managed to have at least one, maybe two left along this stretch.
Yeah, because I thought there were more at one point in time.
Y'all
see
they
that
were.
Right there, the Sankofa bird.
So hopefully once things really start moving for us building, because my organization do plan to build on this historical lot of First Baptist Church. A mixed-use building. Yeah. And we can bring more benches back. Yeah, there's one over there.
Yep. Now, how has your tour been received up until this point?
Right now, a lot of people are showing interest. There are, and I can just see their faces when I'm driving and we're going down the street.
Yep.
But right now, we're right here at, you know, we're still in the holiday season, so I don't really expect things to pick up to after New Year.
It starts warming up?
Yeah, well, after New Year.
After New Year.
Because now we're getting ready to go into MLK and Black History Month, so yeah.
I'm gonna swing around.
Okay.
Ooh. It is cold, y'all. Good God almighty. But this has been absolutely amazing. If you don't mind telling us the civil rights story that you told us about at the Radisson Hotel, which was once a department store. Can you make the connection with Greensboro and High Point?
Yes, the civil rights movement of High Point has a Greensboro connection because of Reverend B. Elton Cobb. Reverend B. Elton Cobb was our fierce leader who led us through the civil rights movement, and he was also one of the original 13 Freedom Riders. He opened a core office up here in High Point, and then he was instrumental in setting up training and helping Greensboro set up their core office. Greensboro had their people coming into High Point to strategize with our demonstrators as to how to move forward in the area for the civil rights movement. Folks like Jesse Jackson, James Farmer, all of these guys who became very well known during that era were in and out of High Point.
Wow. Even
Martin Luther King came to High Point. He did not preach a sermon. He was here and had a private meeting with the local black leaders. And that meeting took place at First Baptist Church.
Okay.
So we have that history with Greensboro. it's time to really make that connection more well known.
That's for sure. Well, I always encourage individuals after I go through my day with them, filming for the episode, to tell people what makes your tour unique and where can people find you and how can they help to continue spreading the word after they watch this episode.
Well, what makes High Point's Black History unique is that we have structures. We have 2 houses and several structures in a church that's still remnants of Jim Crow segregation. It would be very helpful and very appreciative if people would just share your segment on social media, encourage people to come out and take the tour, and just promote. Yalik has been doing a lot of work over the last 17 years promoting the Black history of High Point. The name is out there, but we're wanting to go beyond High Point. We are bigger than that. The mission, the purpose is so much bigger than just High Point.
Yep, I love it. Well, I tell you all, this has been a very, very informative tour. I think, Phyllis, you and I connected about 2 months ago.
Yes.
On social media, and I'm like, yep, I'm coming. Now, the thing is, I was supposed to be here about 3 weeks ago, but the temperature was only supposed to hit like 27 or something like that. So I'm like, nah, sister, we're going to have to reschedule that. And she wasn't tripping.
No, not that day.
Right? But I knew it was going to happen before the start of 2026. And so this actually will close out my last video in 2025. And I can say that it's been a ride, and I can't think of a better way to close out 2025 for History Before Us and the YouTube channel. I'm sorry that my voice is kind of hoarse. I've been in a lot of different climates. I don't got anything. My voice is just, it just is what it is due to the elements. But like I always tell you all, if you like this type of content, please make sure to subscribe and share. It is a joy to bring unheralded history to you all, history that you may not have learned about, but you're interested in knowing more. And so I'm going to leave all of her information and the organization's information in the description of this video. Please make sure to follow them on social media, and any way that you're able to support and help, visit, schedule a tour, etc., please do, because these independent tours are just as prevalent and important as major tours that you may see across the country in the space of history. Thank you for the support this year. I appreciate you. Peace and blessings.